Congratulations, you are about to embark upon a fulfilling career that allows you to fulfill people's dreams of home ownership. There are a lot of forms that you will need to get familiar with, but let's start with the form that you will use with every client. This will be the Real Estate Agency Disclosure and Election, sometimes referred to as the READ form. Whether you are working with a buyer or a seller, upon your first meaningful discussion about real estate, you must discuss agency and your fiduciary duties. I am sure you can recall from class the duties of confidentiality, accounting, reasonable skill and care, loyalty, obedience, and disclosure. You must be able to explain to your client the importance of the agency relationship. On this form, you will let the client know what type of agency they are entering into. It will also be the place where you get written permission to conduct limited dual agency in advance of any showings or contracts as required by law. This same form will be used if you are representing a tenant or a landlord as well. The same duties are required and need to be discussed. If you ever have trouble remembering all your fiduciary duties, just read the form as they are written out for the clients in the very first part of the form. To move forward with working with the buyer or seller, you must also have an employment agreement. These come in the form of a buyer-broker employment agreement, or an exclusive right to sell agreement, or possibly an exclusive agency agreement. To represent a buyer, you will be using the buyer-broker agreement. You will need to discuss with your client how and when you will receive compensation. You will also need to discuss who that compensation will be paid by. This could be the seller, or it could be the buyer, or a combination of both. This form is a type of marriage, if you will. You and your buyer agree to be loyal to one another in the search for a home. When representing a seller, you will need an exclusive right to sell contract that will outline permissions and duties for both you and the seller regarding marketing, lockbox access, signs, and how you will be compensated. An exclusive agency agreement has the same permissions, but it also has a provision that allows the seller to sell their home without having to compensate you by securing a buyer of their own. These are just the beginning of the forms that are available for you to use. Some might say these are the most important, but all the forms to fulfill a contract are equally important, plus some forms that your broker may require you to use as well. There are wonderful classes that are available to you through many resources. The Arizona Realtors has some of the best, so be sure you continue your education throughout your career, as there is always something to learn to help you grow.